All right, today we're going to continue working with our properties of exponents. So remember, these are our properties. Today we're going to be looking at using multiple of them at a time. So let's just start with our first example here. I've got x to the 9th power over 3x to the 10th power. So in the top, I do have a coefficient of 1, but 1 divided by 3 doesn't simplify. And since neither one of those have exponents, I'm just going to leave it as 1 over 3. Now, I do have x to the 9th power over x to the 10th power, which for this I can use the quotient rule. Okay, so which tells me I can subtract my exponents. So I can say x to the 9 minus 10. Okay, so that would then give me x to the negative 1 power over 3. Now, since I don't like having negative exponents, we can use our negative exponent property or rule. And that just tells me if I have something with a negative exponent, that I can move it to the denominator or numerator depending on where it's located. So since my negative exponent is up here in the top of my fraction, I can say it's 1 over, I'm going to shift this down to the bottom to make it positive. And since it's an exponent of 1, I do not need to write that. So here's my final answer, 1 over 3 to 3x. All right, let's look at another one. So in this one here, I've got 6j to the negative 2 power. So right off the bat, there's nothing in the parentheses I can simplify, so I'm going to start with not that one. We will get to the negative, but I am going to start with my power of a product rule. Okay, this just tells me that everything in my parentheses gets the power that is on the outside. So I get 6 to the negative 2, j to the negative 2. Now before I can do anything simplifying with the coefficient, I need to go ahead and use my negative exponent rule, which again just says I'm going to move everything to the bottom or top depending on where it's at. So remember, any whole numbers over 1. So we are leaving 1 in the top. And we're making it 6 to the 2nd power, j to the 2nd power. Now we can do 6 to the 2nd power, which would give me 1 over 36 j squared. And there's my final answer. All right, example 3. So this one's going to get a little more complicated. We do have a couple things we can simplify in the parentheses. So I'm going to start there. Nothing I can work with coefficients is going to change, but I do have d to the negative 5th over d to the 2nd, and I'm going to, since that's a negative 5, I'm going to use that negative rule first. We're just going to get rid of that negative. So that's going to leave me with 8 over d squared times d to the 5th, and that's still all to the 2nd power. Now I can simplify that d to the 2nd times d to the 5th by using my product rule, which tells me I can add those two together. Which gives me 8d to the 7th to the 2nd power. And our final thing, we're going to use power of a quotient rule because I have that 2 on the outside. So that's going to give me 8 to the 2nd power, d to the 7th to the 2nd power. So 8 to the 2nd power I can simplify, which is just 8 times 8, which gives me 64. d to the 7th to the 2nd, well, that has to use the power rule. Sorry, guys, didn't mean to cover my camera. Which just means I'm taking 7 times 2, right? Which is going to give me 64 over d to the 14th. Okay, we're going to look at 2 more examples here. So from here, I'm going to basically look at each individual. I know I've got a couple negatives that I need to take care of first. So first thing I want to look at is my negatives, and I'm going to flip them their places. So both B's in the top and bottom have a negative. So those are going to flip places. So I'm going to move the B to the 4th to the top and B to the 5th to the bottom to make the positive. Now I also have the C to the negative 4th. So that's also going to have to come down here to the bottom as well. Okay, from here we can just, so that was using our negative exponent rule. From here, we can use our quotient rule. Okay, 4 and 5 do not simplify, so we're just going to leave them be. But I can say a to the 7 minus 3, b to the 4 minus 5, and then in the bottom I've got c to the 5. Now, the c to the 5, this right here, is going to be using our product rule. And I can go ahead and in this process work the same. So that's actually going to be c to the 5 plus, oops, let me write that a little clearer, c to the 5 plus 4. From here, it's just a straight simplify. So again, 4, 7 minus 3 is going to give me 4. So I get a to the 4th power in the top. B is going to be 4 to the negative 5, b to the 4 minus 5, which gives me b to the negative 1 power. And then in the bottom, I've got 5, c to the 9th. Now, I do have another negative that I have to use. So, or I had to take care of. So since this b to the negative power ended up being a negative 1, it's going to move down. So I still end up with 4, a to the 5th in the top, over 5, b, c to the 9th. And I like to write them alphabetically. So that's why the b is before the c.